What's up, guys? As you can see, I'm walking out of the greenhouse and it's a beautiful stormy day. So naturally, I have chosen to use today as a time to work on a major project. But it's a very exciting one. You can see I'm kind of working on something in the back of the truck. We got the pond. The pond is here. I'm so freaking excited. And I think they like discounted it or something extra because it was supposed to be 10% off, but I ended up only paying like 260 bucks and they're usually like 350. So I don't know what happened there, but I'm kind of glad that it did, because that means more money to spend on pumps and overflows and filtration and rocks and plants and all sorts of that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna unload this and start situating it in the greenhouse, and I'll get back to you guys. So I've got the pond in the greenhouse, I've got it situated, I've got everything else pulled out. I drained this one first and then used it to store all the stuff that was in there, and that was really stupid of me because obviously I need this empty so that I can mock up the pond and everything like that in the filtration. So basically what I've got to do now is put all this stuff back in the 40-gallon, add the water, add some more tap water that's dechlorinated to fill it all the way up, and we'll store all the pond plants and the fish in there for now as I'm getting the pond situated. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and switch all that stuff over and start mocking up the filter. All right, so as you can see, the temporary pond is back up and running. Fish and plants are all in there. I've got a bunch of the pieces of hardscape I plan on using in the pond just to soak. There's bugs in them right now, and I kind of want to make sure all that kind of comes out and they get waterlogged. Apparently this stuff leaches tannins a lot, so they've been in here for only a few hours and you can already kind of see the water starting to tint a little bit. So I want to get some of that out before we actually fill this thing up and start running it. But I got the filter sort of plumbed. It looks very awkward right now because the weight of the PVC pipes that won't be like that are like pulling down and flexing this part right here. So it's like, it should be, the wall should be straight up and it's kind of like that, but it's not a big deal. There's no media in here yet, so I'm not like, it's not a true test, but I just want to try it. So yeah, we're gonna give it a shot and see what it looks like. Probably gonna take a minute for this to fill up. Oh wow, that was a pretty significant lurch. Okay, the water flow looks pretty good. Obviously it'll increase whenever this tube is shortened. It's got to go around a bunch of corners and turns, so the water flow should be a little bit more than that, but adding media of course is going to lower the water flow. So this, I guess, could be somewhat of a realistic view of what it would look like flow wise at the end of the day. I'm worried that's going to float up, and let's turn that back down. Alright, I guess I'll skip to the point where it starts coming out of the filter. Alright, there we go. It's doing the thing. Oh shit, that thing's starting to unwind. But yeah, that's really good. That's kind of awesome. So the plan here, I don't know if you guys can use your imagination a little bit. These are not going to be like that, obviously. I'm going to be cutting these and using like elbows and all 45s and all sorts of stuff to redirect water where I want water. So some of this hardscape is going to be coming out of the surface and I want it to be saturated. So basically I'm going to be running one of the filter tubes onto that wood and then hiding it. These will all be painted flat black with Krylon Fusion, so it's aquarium safe. And yeah, all of these tubes will run to a certain area that I want saturated, and then one will definitely just be for circulation throughout the pond. I'll probably tuck it in with a 45 so it just pushes the flow back this way, more toward the filter or the pump. But yeah, that's actually really good. I wasn't expecting it to be this even. That might change a little bit when I start doing 45s and stuff on all these, but I'm really happy with this. Alright, so I've got the pump running, I've got all that stuff ready. But I've got a few days, so I want to get this thing scaped and like ready. So I went ahead and I went to the store and I bought a lot of rock. So you can see a couple of pieces already in here. These are some of the boulders that I bought, and then this is kind of the orientation I'm thinking for the wood, and then I'm going to put the shorter one that's sitting outside over there, like somewhere outside of the pond to kind of blend everything together, and then I'm going to throw one of the big anthuriums on it or something. But I wanted, it's kind of hard to scape in here because it's a big bowl, so I want it to be interesting, but I also don't want it to be too much. And I think I'm just going to fill that back area over there with plants and all sorts of stuff to kind of hide it. But we've got about 450 pounds of this stone. It's a lot. It was very heavy. But I really didn't pay that much for it, which was really nice. I found a cool rock place near me. You can see pretty big pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and start rocking this thing in. And then we'll set up the filter, get everything running, and it'll be pretty much good to go. Alright, so I've added a few more pieces, and as you can see, it's starting to like actually take shape into something. So obviously I'm starting with the largest pieces and then working in the smaller as we go. I want to have like the major structure done and established. Like obviously this piece had that nice notch in it, so I tucked it into that piece of wood, and it looks really nice there. And then this piece had a nice curve, but it wasn't too close to the edge where it created this nice little area, so I went with that. And then this piece kind of fit perfectly between these logs, so I just jammed it in there, moved it around until I found an orientation that I really liked, and that brought this cluster closer together as opposed to, you know, feeling isolated. And so now what we've got going on is we've got these larger boulders in the back, and it's going to be blending forward with the smaller stuff, so there's a smaller area of sand here, and then the back area will most likely be plants. But yeah, it's coming together. I'm starting to get really excited. Alright, so the hardscape is done, at least for the most part, and it's time to start doing the filter, which is also almost done. So I got all the rock that I wanted to get in here. This is literally all the rock I bought. I may take some out, but as of now, it's nice. Like I said before, the back area is going to be planted. There's going to be plants all over the wood, and we've got all these little gaps and cracks that we can shove epiphytic species in there. I don't love putting epiphytes down in there because now I know they're like rheophytes and they like growing out of the water, but a lot of them can survive long-term immersed in there, so we'll try to jam some other cooler aquatic species down there like crypts and some other stuff and see what, you know, survives. But moving on to the filtration. This is basically like a bootleg aquascape ecosystem setup. I've seen Serpa use the same thing. But basically we've got the pump down here that comes in. It's been secured to the bottom of this. I need to snip that zip tie. And then it comes in to a piece of corrugated drain tube. You can see these holes in here. So the concept basically is that you have this high velocity water coming in that's holding all these solids, and then it goes straight into a larger area where it becomes low velocity water, which allows all those solids to settle on the bottom. And then I'm going to be putting lava rock, layering it over all of this, so as it pushes up through that lava rock, it basically polishes it, and I may do like a layer of pea gravel on the very top, but we'll see. And then, yeah, so lava rock, dissolve solids on the bottom. You can cut this and then, you know, run a siphon through this so you can drain out the solids that have accumulated in the bottom later on. But I'm going to shove a ton of plants in this thing, and it's going to be really cool. So, this isn't a media bag, by the way. This is just, I'm rinsing off the lava rock. This is just that red lava rock that you can get for like $6 a bag at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. And it comes with a lot of dust, so I'm putting it in a mesh dive bag that I usually use for lobsters and clams and stuff. And we're going to be rinsing out all of the dust and then filling this up. I've got 3 bags. I'm hoping that's going to be enough, but it doesn't look like it will be. So we're going to start off with this one bag, and then I'm just going to keep working until we get there. Alright, so I've got the filter filled up to where I want it to be. The 3 bags was plenty. I say plenty. It looks kind of low right now, but my plan right now is I'm going to put all my rheophytes in here like in pots. So I was thinking about capping this with some pea gravel and then planting plants directly in here, like some colocaceas, homelominas, maybe some philodendrons that can tolerate that kind of wet atmosphere. But I'm going to be putting stuff like this. This is stuff like this, my, you know, Lasomorpha senegalensis, other rheophytes that I've got coming in the future. I can put colocaceas just directly in pots, because from what I've heard, the plants don't do super well just directly in lava rock. You want to keep them in something like fluorite. That's what I've heard from other people. That's the best media to grow stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just put plants in there. I'll probably maybe use this planter for some bigger stuff. This is just one of those mesh planters for like lotus and stuff like that. And yeah, so I've got the uh, the plumbing ran. So the first one is just going to be directly down just for aeration. The second one is going to be a 90-degree that comes this way, and then the third one is a 45-degree that goes kind of down. So it's going to be directing all of that flow toward this way. It may not be enough to bring it all the way back, but with the amount of plant mass that we're going to have in here, it's really not going to be that big of a deal if it doesn't fully circulate the system. So it should be fine. And then, yeah, we'll have all the plants in pots, in fluorite, in here. So that'll make this look a lot nicer. I'm planning on sticking some kind of big plant over here to kind of hide all of that. And we're going to throw plants on the wood as well. So a lot of this is going to disappear into the background. But yeah, everything's ready to run. I'm going to be filling it up tomorrow morning and then turning everything on. I was thinking about doing it tonight, but I want to be there when all of this stuff is happening. So I don't want to do it at 9 o'clock at night. I want to do it in the morning when I can watch it all day. So yeah, we're gonna cut to the morning. All right, it's the morning and it's time to fill this thing up. Let's go. And it's full. Obviously a little bit cloudy. You can kind of see it's cloudy. So what I've done is I've added a couple of filters. You can kind of see this one right here. This is actually something I remember Joey, King of DIY Dude, made like a really long time ago. It's basically a power head with a bottle on the bottom of it, and the bottle is stuffed full of polishing pads, so just a quick, easy filter to help clear things up. And then if we go over to the filter, we can see all these bags of activated carbon that I've thrown in there. So this should be cleared up in a few hours, and then once that's ready, I already added a whole bottle of whatever that Seachem stability stuff. It's like I was looking for the Fritz stuff, but they didn't have it at PetSmart, so I threw this in there. It's a bacterial supplement. That should help kickstart the cycle, so it should be ready for fish pretty much immediately. And then all of these filters are also going to be going in there. All the media from this and the media from that will be going into that filter to help seed the filter with beneficial bacteria. And just due to the size of this, the water volume, I have a really hard time believing that four pearl gouramis are going to just get nuked by some kind of cycle in here. So they should be fine. I'm thinking about just throwing them in, but we'll see. I've still got to add the plants. We've got a lot of planting to do. It's going to be really, really cool. But I've got to run some errands, so hopefully this is going to be cleared up when I get home and I'll be able to enjoy it. Alright, so it's the next day. The pond has cleared up very well. Still got a little ways to go, but we'll get there. And you can see the water level has actually dropped quite a good bit, an inch or two. So that's because of these guys. I watched a video of some aquaponics guy explained basically how to fix this. But basically, if you use a hole saw on really thin, materials, sometimes like this, it can mess up and scar that. So basically, you want to clean up this as best as you can, and then just wrap these guys in really thick Teflon tape to just pick up the, just fill the gap essentially. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that and get the filter back up and running, and then we're gonna plant this thing today. I didn't film most of the planting, unfortunately, because it was kind of just me awkwardly placing Java ferns and moss. I don't have a lot of the nicer plants I want to be adding. Like my Lassimorpha is the only really nice plant in here right now. Everything else is just random Java ferns, Anubias, Bucephalandra. There's some Bulbatus on this log, a bunch of mosses throughout here. And then there's a bunch of just Java fern. You can't really see it unless we get really close. Tucked down in there. So nothing crazy. But I just wanted to get a little bit in there so stuff started to root, and so I can see kind of how things are going to start growing in here. And then, of course, I was walking around in here, which was kind of fun. So it's a little bit cloudy again, unfortunately. You can see some of the pearl gouramis looking for food. I just fed them a second ago. But the pearl gouramis are in here. I still have no idea what else I'm going to add to this pond. I'm thinking more nano fish than actual big fish now, just because of the way it's coming together, and all the gaps in the rocks would be really cool for some smaller stuff to kind of colonize and make territories. So I'm thinking maybe some dwarf cichlids, cherry shrimp, loaches, maybe some smaller Corydoras, or Autosynclus would be really nice to help clean up this area, but we'll see. I have no idea. I've never had anything this big, so it is a little bit overwhelming. I'm more focused on the plants right now. I've got a bunch of like stem plants and other stuff that are going to be going into pots and going into that back section. And we've got just lots of stuff to add. So the actual stocking is kind of in the back of my mind, but I realize that we need to be adding fish in here so that there will be nutrient content for the plants. So if you have any good suggestions, let me know down in the comment section. Like I said, I'm thinking more gouramis, maybe loaches, maybe some dwarf cichlids, maybe some slightly larger cichlids. I was thinking maybe freshwater archers. Those would be really cool to interact with in here. But I really don't know. I really don't know what I want in here yet. It's hard to choose. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. The next video, this will be a lot clearer, a lot more grown in. I mean, I say a lot. It's probably going to be a few weeks from now. But I'll be adding more plants, I'll be adding more fish, and I'll keep you guys updated. And if you want to see those updates, make sure you like and subscribe. So thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time.